Welcome back to our channel, soap fans. Today is a beautiful day to dive headfirst into the scorching drama of Los Angeles. We have the absolute latest, most explosive spoilers for the week of July 13th, and trust us, you are not ready for the shockwaves about to hit our favorite families. Grab your favorite drink, buckle up, and let's get straight into the heart-pounding action. The walls of the Cliff House are about to shatter into a million jagged pieces, and John Finnegan is the one holding the hammer. In a moment of sheer, unadulterated madness, Finn commits the ultimate betrayal, wrapping his arms around the devil herself and preparing to pitch a toxic nightmare to his fiercely protective wife. Meanwhile, across town in a sterile hospital room, a completely different kind of devastation is unfolding as Daphne Rose Walton's desperate dreams of motherhood are violently ripped away in a single, breathless moment. And if that is not enough high-stakes chaos for you, a feral Will Spencer is currently spiraling out of control, howling at the moon over his shattered romance, only to find himself firmly in the crosshairs of a highly calculated, ruthlessly seductive Melissa Dillon. The impending drama kicks off with a scene of absolute, gut-wrenching heartbreak at the medical clinic. For months, Daphne and Carter Walton have been riding a brutal emotional roller coaster, desperately hoping for a positive pregnancy test to solidify their beautiful new marriage. They have done everything right, tracked every cycle, and prayed for the ultimate blessing to complete their family. But the agonizing wait has finally pushed Daphne to seek professional medical intervention, leading her straight into the sterile, unforgiving office of Dr. Lee Finnegan. The tension in the waiting room is thick enough to cut with a knife as Daphne nervously wrings her hands, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs while Carter tries to remain the steady, unwavering pillar of strength beside her. When Dr. Lee Finnegan finally crosses the threshold of the examination room, the heavy, somber look on her face immediately sucks the oxygen straight out of the space. Lee is a woman of science, a brilliant physician who has seen her fair share of tragedy, but delivering this specific brand of devastating news to a hopeful young woman is a heavy burden. With a gentle but firm tone, Lee looks Daphne directly in the eyes and delivers a catastrophic infertility diagnosis that brings Daphne's entire world crashing down around her. The sheer finality of the medical news hits Daphne like a physical blow, leaving her gasping for air as the devastating reality sets in. Her lifelong dream of carrying Carter's child, of feeling their baby kick and grow inside her, is suddenly and violently extinguished. Carter Walton, the ever-devoted husband, is instantly thrown into a desperate scramble to hold the shattered pieces of his wife together. He wraps his arms around a sobbing Daphne, his own heart breaking into splinters as he absorbs the massive blow to their future. But the grief is a suffocating blanket, and the immediate aftermath of this diagnosis threatens to place an insurmountable strain on their newly minted marriage. Carter, desperately trying to find a silver lining in the suffocating darkness, immediately begins to gently pivot the conversation toward alternative paths to parenthood. He brings up the very real, very viable options of surrogacy or adoption, hoping to reignite a spark of hope in his devastated wife. But the timing is dangerously premature, and the suggestion only deepens the agonizing chasm opening up between them. Daphne is completely paralyzed by a profound, overwhelming sense of physical inadequacy. The raw, visceral pain of not being able to naturally carry the child of the man she loves is a deeply personal trauma that she cannot simply brush aside with alternative logistical solutions. She forcefully hesitates at Carter's suggestions, unable to even entertain the thought of another woman carrying their baby or adopting a child when she is still actively mourning the death of her own biological capabilities. This fundamental disconnect creates a terrifying friction between the newlyweds. Carter wants to fix the problem and move forward toward their family goals, while Daphne is hopelessly anchored to the agonizing grief of her failing body. The emotional chasm threatens to swallow their honeymoon phase whole. Just as the suffocating despair threatens to completely drown Daphne, the door swings open and Steffy Forrester Finnegan arrives like a fierce, protective hurricane. Steffy has always been a formidable force of nature, and seeing her friend and colleague completely broken activates her deepest, most loyal instincts. Steffy immediately steps in to console the weeping Paris perfumier, offering a fierce shoulder to cry on and a steady voice of unwavering support. Steffy knows a thing or two about overcoming insurmountable odds and surviving devastating heartbreak, and she channels every ounce of her Forrester resilience into holding Daphne upright. But the bitter, tragic irony of this deeply emotional hospital scene is that while Steffy is valiantly fighting to save Daphne's spirit, her own marriage is standing on the absolute brink of a catastrophic, irreversible explosion. Leaving the tears of the clinic behind, the narrative violently shifts to the impending apocalypse at the Cliff House. John Finnegan, a man who has repeatedly promised his wife that she never has to worry about him betraying her trust, is actively walking into the most dangerous, manipulative trap ever set. Sheila, the nine-toed menace who has terrorized the Forrester family for decades, has successfully weaponized her recent divorce and her pathetic, lonely facade to completely infiltrate Finn's vulnerable heart. In a moment that will undoubtedly make viewers scream at their screens, the preview clip reveals Finn and Sheila sharing a deep, emotional hug. It is a visual representation of the ultimate treason, a sickening display of misplaced loyalty that proves Finn has learned absolutely nothing from the blood-soaked history of his biological mother. Sheila knows exactly what she is doing. Every tear she sheds, every tremble in her voice, is a highly calculated, masterfully executed performance designed to tug at Finn's heartstrings and blind him to her true, sinister nature. She desperately claims that she needs her family now more than ever, effectively backing Finn into a massive psychological corner. And tragically, Finn swallows the toxic bait hook, line, and sinker. He becomes completely delusional, convincing himself that Sheila has genuinely transformed and that she deserves a seat at their family table. The absolute madness of this thought process is staggering. Finn actually believes that he can walk into his home, look his traumatized wife in the eye, and pitch the idea of welcoming the woman who shot them both in a filthy alleyway back into their daily lives. The impending confrontation between Steffi and Finn is guaranteed to be one of the most explosive, earth-shattering moments in recent daytime history. Finn, armed with his dangerously naive optimism, finally sits Steffi down for the hardest talk of their marriage. When the words actually leave his mouth, when he actively suggests that it is time they consider letting Sheila into their lives, the temperature in the Cliff House drops to absolute zero. Steffi's reaction is not just anger, it is an apocalyptic, white-hot fury born from years of trauma, terror, and fiercely protective maternal instinct. Her eyes darken with a venomous rage as the sheer magnitude of Finn's betrayal washes over her. He is not just asking for a favor, he is asking her to willingly invite a lethal predator into the same home where their innocent children sleep. Steffi Forrester Finnegan does not compromise when it comes to the safety of her family, and she certainly does not negotiate with terrorists. She instantly and aggressively shuts Finn's request down with the force of a falling anvil. There is no debate, no gentle understanding, and no room for interpretation. Steffi lays down the ultimate, non-negotiable law: Sheila will never, under any circumstances, be a part of their family. The fierce exchange leaves Finn reeling, completely emasculated and forced into a humiliating retreat. He suddenly realizes the terrifying gravity of his mistake. If he continues to push this insane agenda, if he continues to advocate for the devil, he will absolutely lose his marriage. The line has been drawn in the sand, and Finn is standing perilously close to the edge of a marital cliff. But the true danger of this situation does not lie in Finn's retreat, it lies in the catastrophic fallout of Sheila's inevitable disappointment. Sheila is currently waiting in the wings, anxiously anticipating the news of her grand readmission into the Finnegan family. When Finn is forced to return to her, tail tucked between his legs, to deliver the crushing news that Steffi has permanently slammed the door in her face, the fragile facade of the reformed mother will instantly shatter. Sheila does not handle rejection, and she certainly does not accept defeat at the hands of Steffi Forrester. The massive disappointment will act as a lethal catalyst, instantly awakening her most dangerous, unpredictable, and violent instincts. The preview heavily implies that this rejection will send Sheila turning down a highly dangerous, sinister road, and no one in Los Angeles is safe from the impending collateral damage. While the Cliff House prepares for a psychological war, a completely different kind of chaos is erupting in the Spencer universe. Will Spencer is currently operating in a completely feral, volatile state after losing Elektra Forrester for what feels like the final time. The young man is utterly devastated, howling at the moon and completely losing his grip on reality. He cannot comprehend how a simple business secret resulted in the total annihilation of his romantic future. Desperate, heartbroken, and searching for any lifeline to pull him out of his suffocating misery, Will makes the highly questionable decision to seek guidance from the absolute worst possible source, his father, Dollar Bill Spencer. Bill Spencer thrives in the chaos of corporate warfare and personal vendettas, and he is currently riding high on the smug, arrogant victory of the House of Logan's recent fashion success. When a broken, volatile Will comes to him for advice, Bill is not going to offer gentle, constructive wisdom. He is going to offer ruthless, toxic, Spencer brand warfare tactics. Bill's guidance will undoubtedly fan the flames of Will's rage and entitlement, pushing the young man further away from the rational, measured approach he desperately needs. Armed with his father's dangerous advice and a heart full of agonizing regret, Will decides to try and drown his sorrows in the chaotic, neon-lit atmosphere of the Bikini Bar. The Bikini Bar is loud, crowded, and pulsing with an energy that completely contrasts with the dark, suffocating heartbreak brewing inside Will's chest. He sits at the bar, nursing his drink and his bruised ego, completely vulnerable and entirely unaware that he is being actively hunted. Enter Melissa Dillon. Dillon is ambitious, seductive, and highly opportunistic, and she has just been given the ultimate green light to pursue the man she has been harboring a massive crush on for months. With Elektra officially out of the picture and Will sitting right in front of her looking like a wounded animal in desperate need of comfort, Dillon spots her prey and immediately goes in for the kill. The preview clip showcases Dillon executing a flawless, highly calculated seduction at the bar. She slides into the space next to Will, her smile radiant and her intentions crystal clear. She leans in close, invading his personal space with an intoxicating mix of sympathy and raw, undeniable physical attraction. Dillon is a master manipulator of the moment, offering the exact brand of soothing distraction that a heartbroken man craves. She listens to his woes, validates his anger, and subtly positions herself as the easy, uncomplicated, and highly desirable alternative to the massive headache that is Elektra Forrester. But the Bikini Bar is just the opening act of Dillon's aggressive romantic campaign. The true, high-stakes danger unfolds when the scene shifts to the secluded, intimate confines of the beach house. Dillon has successfully maneuvered her way back into Will's private sanctuary, and she is not wasting a single second of this golden opportunity. As she comforts him, her hands lingering just a little too long, her gaze burning with an intensity that demands his attention, she drops the ultimate, audacious proposition. With a sly, knowing smile, Dillon casually suggests that since Will is now single again, perhaps she could move back in with him. But she doesn't stop there. She boldly, shamelessly adds, "For the record, if I did come back, I wouldn't be living above the garage." The sheer audacity of the comment hangs in the heavy air of the beach house like a lit match over a pool of gasoline. Dillon is explicitly, unequivocally stating that if she moves back in, she intends to move directly into Will's bedroom, into his bed, and into his life as his full-fledged lover. It is a massive, aggressive escalation, a direct challenge to Will's lingering loyalty to a woman who has already walked away from him. The physical proximity, the heavy implication of immediate sexual gratification, and the desperate need to feel wanted all crash down on Will in a suffocating wave of temptation. Will is instantly plunged into a violent internal war. On one side is the ghost of Elektra Forrester, the woman he still deeply, desperately loves, the woman who holds his heart hostage despite the agonizing pain of their separation. On the other side is Melissa Dillon, a beautiful, willing, and incredibly aggressive distraction offering him an immediate escape from his misery. The psychological warfare in his head is deafening. He is tempted, deeply tempted, to give in to the raw, visceral distraction Dillon is offering, to let her erase the sting of Elektra's rejection with the heat of a new, uncomplicated passion. But can he truly forget about Elektra just yet? Can he cross that massive physical and emotional boundary with Dillon knowing that it might permanently destroy any microscopic chance he has left of winning Elektra back? The tension in the beach house is absolute, heart-stopping perfection. Will Finn's betrayal destroy his marriage, and can Will resist Dillon's ultimate seduction? Drop your boldest theories in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and join the debate.